The bombshell allegations that GOP Senate nominee Roy Moore had inappropriate sexual conduct with a 14-year-old girl when he was 32 have roiled Alabama's Senate race, where the GOP candidate had been heavily favored to win in December. A cascade of Republican senators, including Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, RK, and National Republican Senatorial Committee Chairman Senator Cory Gardner, R. Colorado, immediately began calling for Moore to step aside if the allegations are true. Senator John McCain, R. Arizona, went the furthest of Senate Republicans on Thursday, calling on Moore to immediately step down. The allegations against Roy Moore are deeply disturbing and disqualifying, McCain said in a statement. He should immediately step aside and allow the people of Alabama to elect a candidate they can be proud of. Moore's campaign vigorously denied the allegations as garbage, an argument that may resonate with his legion of hardcore supporters. Moore, the former Alabama State Supreme Court judge, who won the nomination in the face of Beltway GOP opposition and frequently criticizes McConnell and other top Republicans, said in a fundraising pitch that he refuses to stand down. The allegations against Moore puts Republicans in a predicament a month before the special election against Democratic nominee Doug Jones, one that threatens to weaken Moore's grip on the race and tarnish the national Republican brand. The Washington Post published the decades-old allegations in a Thursday afternoon story, with the most damning accusation levied by Lee Curfman, now 53. Curfman said she met Moore at the age of 14, when he offered to watch her while her mother attended a child custody hearing. At the time, Moore worked as an assistant district attorney. Curfman told the paper that Moore asked for her telephone number and later took her to his house and kissed her. On a subsequent meeting, she recalled that he took off his clothing and much of hers, touching her over her underwear and placing her hand over his underwear. 3 other women told the paper that Moore had approached them when they were teenagers between the ages of 16 and 18, but that no sexual contact outside of kissing occurred. The legal age of consent at the time was 16 in Alabama, while the statute of limitations has long expired on Curfman's allegations, according to the Post. Moore's campaign chair, Bill Armistead, blasted the allegations in a lengthy statement that accused the Post of publishing the story to hurt Moore because the paper's editorial board has endorsed Jones. It is no surprise, with just over 4 weeks remaining, in a race for the U.S. Senate with national implications, that the Democratic Party and the country's most liberal newspaper would come up with a fabrication of this kind, he said. During the primary, Senate GOP leadership spent millions backing appointed Senator Luther Strange, R. Alabama, against Moore to serve out the rest of Attorney General Jeff Sessions' Senate term. But Moore received endorsements from Trump, the NRSC and McConnell after winning the runoff against Strange. Now, Washington Republicans are backpedaling. But it's unclear what that means for the situation on the ground in Alabama, where Democrats haven't held a Senate seat since 1996. While dozens of Republicans in Washington are calling on Moore to step aside if the allegations are true, Republicans in Alabama don't think the story will resonate the same way for voters. Instead, they focused on the timing of the allegations, which come just 4 weeks before the election. Paul Reynolds, the Republican National Committee man from Alabama, told The Hill that something about the timing of the accusation and the Post's role breaking the story doesn't smell right. My gosh, it's the Washington Post. If I've got a choice of putting my welfare into the hands of Putin or the Washington Post, Putin wins every time, he said. This is going to make Roy Moore supporters step up to the plate and give more, work more and pray more. Jonathan Gray, an Alabama Republican strategist, noted that Alabama Republicans are not willing to put their Senate seat at risk, arguing that they'd rather vote for anyone over a Democrat. I think they'd rather put Satan up there and then get him removed in the next election than lose the chance to correct what they think has been an injustice for 8 years, Gray told The Hill. Quoting the Bible, Alabama State Auditor and Moore supporter Jim Zeigler told the Washington Examiner that there is nothing immoral or illegal here. Maybe just a little bit unusual, he admitted. Zeigler compared the allegations to biblical relationships. "Take Joseph and Mary," Zeigler told the Examiner. "Mary was a teenager and Joseph was an adult carpenter. They became parents of Jesus. It's too late for Moore to be removed from the ballot, according to Alabama state law, so even if Moore steps aside his name will remain on the ballot." Alabama Secretary of State John McCain told The Hill that if Moore steps aside and still wins, the election will be null and void and the state will have to call another special election. That means that Republicans have three options: stand by Moore and hope he wins, cut Moore loose and hope that he still wins and triggers another special election, or marshal forward a long-shot write-in campaign under threat that another Republican could split votes and hand the race to Jones. It remains to be seen if Democrats will make a late-breaking investment in the race given the allegations and Senate Republicans' disavowal. So far, Democratic committees have only made small investments in the race, given Alabama's overwhelmingly Republican electorate. Even after coast-to-coast victories for Democrats Tuesday night, party leaders still appeared wary about ramping up involvement on Wednesday. Democratic National Committee Chairman Tom Perez reiterated that Jones remains an underdog in the race and that increased investment in state parties will help boost his candidacy. Senate Minority Leader Charles Schumer, D.N.Y., said they're still closely watching the race.